Hello, and welcome to the first episode of my new series called Do Something. Do Something is a series I'm starting, and it's basically about me, or anyone, but me getting up and doing something. I have a lot of interests. I like to do a lot of random things, and this is the perfect place to put all those there. Anyways, on the first episode of Do Something, today I'm going to be drawing and painting a flower. This flower, a hibiscus. Hibiscus, the hibiscus flower is my favorite flower. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and this one is pink. I found it outside. Yeah. And I guess I should share how I got into drawing flowers. When I was younger, I wanted to be a florist or a botanist, and I thought, okay, in order to do that, I have to learn about the different plant types, and I have to learn how to sketch flowers scientifically. Anyways, I found this book PDF that broke down how to draw flowers to a fundamental level in a few steps, and since then I've always known how to draw flowers. I wish I can show you my old drawings, but I simply just don't have them now. But I used to go crazy for daisies and lavender. But today, the subject is a hibiscus plant. I have my watercolor paper book. Okay, I'm kind of cheating today because it's not really cheat, but you know what I mean. I'm cheating today with my watercolor pencils. As you can see, I have a pink one, and I have a yellow one, and then I have a green one. So that's all really the colors I need for this hibiscus. And then I have a brush, a watercolor brush. There are different types. This is a watercolor brush. And a baby food jar filled with water. So I can bring my watercolor to life. Anyways, I have a second angle so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, I also have a pencil and an eraser because I like to sketch before I paint. I don't just go in there just doing whatever. Anyways, yes, let's get started. All right. Okay, you should be able to see my paper now. You see me and you see my paper. Okay. So, the first step to drawing flowers is getting the basic shapes down. When you look at this flower hibiscus, you see that the petals are kind of circular. It's pretty straightforward. There's 5 petals, and they're pretty circular in shape. So that's what I'm going to start with. And then you see this bottom part too. I might not put too much detail in that part because that's not the main focus, but we will see. So I'm going to start drawing my 5 circles. They don't have to be perfect, but they do have to be very, very light. Because the thing with watercolor is it's pretty sheer, so anything under it shows through, and your pencil markings will show through under it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. Maybe you can't because it's too light, but I'll zoom in a bit. Yeah. But I drew 5 circles, and now I'm going to add a little more definition. In this specific hibiscus flower, the petals are overlapping, kind of like in a clockwise shape. So there's the top one, and the top one is overlapping the one on the right to it. So I'm gonna get a little more petal shaped with it. Yeah. I wish I had my inking pen that's waterproof so I can ink it and then color with the watercolor. But since I don't, I'm kind of just gonna wing it. Luckily, this flower is so simple. When I was looking, I found some complex ones, but it's been a while since I painted flowers, so I was like, let me get the basic one down. And this one is like perfect. It's like actually perfect. Did I pick it fresh? Yes, unfortunately. My fault, chat. But it's like I had to have it physically. Yeah. I don't know if you can see it coming into fruition, but this is slaying right now. The thing also that I haven't decided as of yet is like what angle am I drawing this flower from, because I'm looking at it and it's sitting on the table, but I don't know if I want to make it look like it's floating mid-air or if it's sitting on the table. I think I'm going to make it look like it's floating in the air, because I'm not that great with like real world physics. Oh my gosh. And this is just easier. Okay. Now the petal has more definition. There's more life to it. I hope you can see it. If you can't see it, then oopsie daisy. Okay, and since I'm starting to get confused with some lines, the thing with watercolor paper is that if you keep erasing it, you're low-key destroying the paper. So that's why you have to keep it light and then erase lightly. Everything is light. That's one thing. When I was writing my college essays, I wrote about watercolor and how every single stroke and placement has to be intentional, because with watercolor you can't paint over it like acrylic. You can't there's no redo. You just gotta, or there's no like undo button. You have to redo the whole painting. So with this, there's a lot of concentration and focus that goes into it, you know? Yeah. And sometimes when I do the flower sketches, I just leave the pencil marks in there, because it's like, bro, did you think I just like did this straight, did this fresh? Nah, I sketched it beforehand. And I think that kind of adds to the rawness of the painting, because I feel like watercolor is such a refreshing and raw medium, because it's literally just color and water, you know? You can't get more basic than that. Yet sometimes it's hard to boil things down to the basics. Yeah. Okay. So I hope you can see it. It's already looking good. It's already looking good. Okay. Next, I got the fundamental shape down. I should have added the, hold on, I'm gonna add this real quick. 1, 2, I think it's so cool how it has 5 little things. And there's 5 petals. This flower is like the most stereotypical hibiscus flower I could have picked for this painting. And then I'm gonna just add little circles for the yellow stuff. Yeah. This is the best flower in the entire world. You can't convince me otherwise. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. The way I drew this makes sense from my perspective. However, I will say it's not doing the flower any justice at the moment. I can fix it up though by just adding detail around it. Or you know what? Because I started off with this thing, I should have worked from the base to the top and then stem out. Yeah. See, that's why you should sketch before you watercolor. Because if I just did this with strokes, then it would be a lot harder for me to fix it. This is basically like a rough draft before you complete your essay. Okay, yes, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Okay, now we got the fundamentals down. We got like the basic parts of the flower here. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but the flower has like veins. There's like pink lines in there. That's what gives it extra detail. This is a very light flower, so I'm not going to put too much shading and like heaviness on it, because I think that makes it, that doesn't, the that wouldn't reflect how delicate it is in real life. So I'm just going to go light on the veins. Make sure to capture the curves of the petal as well, because this is a 3D flower. That's where the veins and extra details help in doing that. You can add shading around the edge of the petal too. Since the light is coming from this angle, I'm going to put the shadow as if that is the case in the painting. The thing is, you don't really want to shade with pencil though, because you're going to shade with the watercolor. And if you shade with pencil, that just means more lead for you to erase, which damages the paper, which makes the painting come out rough. So this is more like a guide. And sometimes when I sketch out these flowers, I'm like, it looks good as just a sketch, you know, like I don't really have to paint it. Like sometimes color like ruins the vibe. That's why I try to keep the color simple too, because I feel like the shape kind of speaks for itself. Okay, now I've entered the section where I'm just doing too much. Yo! Sometimes simpler is better. Let me just do a little flick. Okay, that was scary. This thing almost went real south real quick. Okay. Let me just add extra shadow in these areas so I know that this is where... This flower looks so simple that it doesn't even look realistic. I don't know. Yeah. If you add little ridges to the edge of the petal, then it makes it look more realistic. Like it's not a cartoon, it's a real thing. Because it is a real thing. But if you want to convey that in drawing, you gotta do a little one too. A little extra. I think everybody should learn how to draw flowers. Just go outside and draw some plants. Got me out here feeling like Bob Ross. But yeah. Okay, now I'm just doing too much. As you can see, I don't even know how to this is literally how it looks. Like, I'll put a little stem in the back here, because that's where the stem is in real life. But like, this is literally how... Never mind, no stem. It's just a pink, and this is just a pink painting. But this is how it literally looks. Like, you can't get more realistic than that. Shit. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. Now it's time for painting. Now it's time for painting. I forget how it's positioned sometimes. Okay. So I have my baby food jar filled with water. Baby food is low-key an underrated snack. Oh, I almost dropped this water on my thing. Oh, speaking of thing, I should probably get some paper towels. My hair is wet. I just washed it. I didn't pee myself or anything like that. Okay. Yeah, just in case I make any more spills. Okay, see, this is where the hard part is, because I already have it sketched out. But I'm going to erase it oh, you know what? maybe I have a pen in here that like that can withstand. Is there water? Oh, oh, I have a pink pen. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking, I'm cooking right now. I'm going to line the flower I just sketched with the pink pen, and then I'm going to erase the pencil sketchings. The pink pen is going to act as another guide for my painting. But since it's pink and the flower's already pink, it's not going to stand out as much. Okay. So. One thing I will say that's not accurate to real life is that the top flower, the top petal is a little bigger than it should be. See, when you use too dark of a pencil, it also leaves an aftermark. But we're just gonna act like we don't see that. Yeah. Yeah. I already moved it, so I'm just running off of vibes at this point. That looks pretty good still. Okay. Now it looks like it was just sitting on the table. I'll just... Guess we changing plans. It was sitting on the table. Okay, now it's time to simplify this sketch even more. It still looks exactly like how I see it. So now it's time to simplify this sketch even more. I'm gonna get my pen. I gotta make sure it works first. And then lightly line what I just sketched. This also helps with keeping the definition too, because the pen is going to stand out compared to the watercolor, so you can kind of see the details underneath. For the yellow part and the part that sticks out, I'm gonna just have to wing it when the time comes, because I low-key won't be able to see it. I used to pray for times like this to run like this. So I had to paint like this and paint like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let me line it up. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to erase it to reveal the actual painting, or the actual guide. Very, very simple. You can't get simpler than that. I wish my eraser was a little softer, so it's not like rubbing off my whole paper. And then I'm gonna lightly erase that. Not completely, just lightly. Okay. Can you see it? Do you see it? Alright. It's actually pretty dark on paper. Turns out my pink is kind of a purple too. But I'm gonna pick up my pink watercolor. And I'm just gonna sketch away. The thing is, like I mentioned before with the shadows and whatnot, the areas where the petal overlaps the other petal, there's some extra shadow, so I'm gonna sketch a little heavier over there. The thing with watercolor pencils is that you can cheat with the shading because you can do the painting before it's wet. So you have more control, because once that water hit that paper, it's up to you and that water. It's up to that water mainly, but you know, there's not much you can do besides guide it to the right direction. So I'm gonna Sketch it, sketch it. Is this eating chat? I kind of think it is. I can't wait to see what the final results look like. I'm saying that like I don't know. But low-key, I don't. I'm just doing what I think I should be doing. Just like in life. You know, I'm just doing what I think I should be doing. Sometimes I do what I want to do. Like I'm doing right now. I wanted to paint some flowers in the middle of the day. I hope you can hear me clearly. Because it would not be cool if you couldn't. Okay? Now that the darker part's out the way, I'm gonna lightly shade the rest of the flower. You can see the lines now from the pencil, but once I put water on it, you're not gonna be able to see nothing. And then in the flower from real life, there's some yellow in it too. You can't really see it. Probably can't really see it on camera, but in the actual flower, there's little pieces of yellow. One thing I will say is, in watercolor, layering is like a super, like, it's unreal. It's like the best thing ever. That's like my favorite part of layering colors and subtly mixing them in, you know. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a little yellow throughout the flower petal. It's very subtle and it's very random, so it can look random here too. There's definitely more pink on the left side of the petal than there is on the right side. I'm noticing that now. So I'm just gonna add some more pink here too. Oh, and the key to watercolor as well is to not add too much water. Because the moment you add too much water, that's when hell breaks loose and you're like, uh-oh. I high-key can't see, but I think I accidentally colored over the thingy thing. Because I low-key can't see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then bring it downtown. This one kind of has a hint of green in it. Then I'm gonna redraw this because I kind of need it. And that's just a whole bunch of yellow. But I might need to draw over it with a brown pen because, yo, shout out to my pens right now for coming in clutch. I don't really have the rest of my supplies, but it's doing its job. I'm just gonna cover all that with and then put my red pen because this part's red. Yo, shout out to colored pens and colored pencils. Or pencil crayons. Growing up, I used to hear pencil crayons too. Yeah. And then I'm gonna get my green and lightly line it right here. Get my yellow and, you know, go ham right here. Dang, see, the brown is a bit too dark. Oh, you know what? I also did not erase it. That's probably why it was really dark. Yo, this is what happens when you start doing too much. Hey, the color pencil erases. The watercolor pencil erase as well. And I'll put the pink back on there. And then I'm going to put my green back on there. And then I'm going to get my red color pencil. See, I overlined the red part with the red pen a little too much. But it's a very red part of the flower. So, I mean, it's red, you know. What can I say? I'm gonna line the stem, this part too. Okay, that's that. Now it's time to get the brush. How's it looking on camera? Yeah. Now it's time to get the water and very light. Let me move this out the way. And very lightly cover everything with water. I'll put this back on. That's okay. Okay. I'm gonna start on the outer edge. It's okay, I'm as scared as you are. And then I'm just gonna dab it with water. I started on this bottom petal. As you can see, the watercolor pencil is like a little cheat because the color is already on the paper. However, that does not make it any easier. This video's gotten long already, but I mean, you can't really, this is supposed to be a quick process, but here I am yapping away. Anyways. This is low-key a vibe. Yeah. I love it. I love it. The only thing I will say is that the paint is a little darker than I'd like it to be, but that might be because I went a little heavy with the shading. But I mean, it's still eating. It still looks good. Shout out to that book for teaching me how to draw flowers, because I think a good base is what makes a drawing even better. And the one thing about watercolor is it's so hard to stay light. You can always go darker and heavier, but the light, the sheerness is what makes watercolor like one of the most goated mediums for painting ever. I should probably, if a hibiscus was a song or a genre of music, I guess it would be like island music. And when I say island, I mean like the Pacific Islands and the Caribbean, because low-key the islands kind of carry the same vibe no matter where you are. But yeah, this is looking good. Yes. Oh, this is so exciting. It's been a minute since I painted, so you know, this is really fun. I hope you can hear me well, because if I just sound like mumbo bumbo jumbo, bear with me. Yes. Oh my gosh. One of my, like, if I was Barbie, I would be doing like a million things. But one of my fantasies for what I'd like to be growing up was also a children's book illustrator. Imagine just sitting here painting flowers and cute little bears for a living. It's like the cutest thing ever, especially if you're really good at it. Would this have been quicker if I just went straight in with the paint? No, because I'll be like, oh no, this one already did it. And I'm just adding water to it, bringing it to life. Oh, one thing about watercolor too, you know what? Damn, I should have left some white space in there, because one thing about watercolor too is that you can have some crazy highlights, and that's just if you leave the paper alone. And little white poking through watercolor is like, I think so cute. Maybe if I dab it a bit. That'll kind of, oh, actually you can erase in watercolor if you just put like more water and then dab it like instantly. And then it doesn't look as good if you just did it right the first time. So, and it dries very quick. So all your decisions have to be quick. All right, and then I'm just gonna add water to the final parts that aren't pink, like the yellow and the red. Some people like to do mixed media when it comes to watercolor, like some watercolor parts, but I'm gonna just keep the pen in there, or I'm gonna, you know, put some white with some acrylic instead of leaving the background blank. Things like that, which makes the watercolor process easier. But I decided to just keep it solely watercolor today. See, I put a lot of water in that, and I'm gonna just let it evaporate. I'm not even gonna touch it. And then I'm gonna put some water on the stem. You know what? I might just dab it a little bit. I'm scared. Pow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the flower. Can you see it? Can you see it? Oh. Can you see it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Okay. This is it. Painted a flower tag. Hold on. Let me get that thumbnail. It only took like 30 minutes. Slay. Okay, and then I'm gonna do this. I've been Indie, and this is Do Something with Indie. And yeah, today we painted a beautiful flower that looks exactly like the one that's in my hair. And I can't wait to do something for the next episode. Okay, bye.